Free Minds TV is coming to you from the Liberty Forum here in Nashua, New Hampshire, which this year is taking place at the Crowne Plaza Hotel. There's all kinds of speakers lined up for the 2009 Liberty Forum, which from what I hear is the biggest one yet. So we're going to be talking to regular attendees as well as some of the major speakers that the other people are coming to see. And just giving you a sense of what's going on here at the Liberty Forum. You might be familiar with the Pork Fest, which is the other Free State gathering that takes place once a year. We covered that here on Free Minds TV. And Liberty Forum is a little bit different in that it takes place in a hotel either in winter or in early spring. So there's not a whole lot of camping going on like there is at Pork Fest. And people are dressed up a little bit more panel speakers. It's a little bit more like what you would expect out of a typical convention. But why don't you follow us inside and we'll see what's going on here at the Crowne Plaza Hotel, Liberty Forum 2009. So we're here with Glenn Jacobs, who some of our viewers might know as Kane from his career in the WWE as a wrestler. And Glenn, you're also a pro-liberty activist. You've been speaking here at the 2009 Liberty Forum. What were the topics you were addressing? Because we actually weren't there for the speech.
I talked about paradigms and how people's worldview affects things, and also Austrian economics, and the fact that libertarianism is the most realistic paradigm. It's actually how the world works, and opportunities that hopefully will come to us in the future as the other paradigms prove false.
And what have you been doing outside of the Liberty Forum? What's your activism like when you're not here in New Hampshire?
Well, unfortunately, not as much as it would be if I were here. But you know, I try to write a little bit, and I just try to keep myself educated as much as I can, and then I try to support some of the movements out there, some of the groups that are doing good things. And
are you planning to move to New Hampshire at some point in the future?
I'd like to, if my personal situation allows me to, but we'll have to sort of, get that figured out. I think that's the case with a lot of people, unfortunately.
All right, well, we hope we see you here someday.
Cool,
thanks. We're here with Dave Ridley of the Ridley Report. And Dave, you want to tell our viewers who aren't familiar, I think a lot of them do watch your reports, but you want to tell our viewers who don't know what the Ridley Report is?
It's sort of a poor man's TV station. Basically what I do is I try to broadcast 2 stories per day about New Hampshire Liberty news, and there's pretty much standard news stories, told in the same way that a news reporter would tell them, with a lot of different pictures. I don't focus on just aiming the camera at myself, but I try to get, a lot of pictures from what's going on.
And recently, in shooting the Ridley Report, you did some civil disobedience in Keene, New Hampshire. Basically, the judge had ruled, despite the fact that New Hampshire law says you should be able to have a camera in the courtroom, that cameras weren't allowed in his courtroom, and you decided that you didn't really like that particular ruling and you were going to challenge it by attempting to tape. Were you going to try to tape in the courtroom or just in the lobby of the court?
Well, I had sent him a note in advance. It goes back a little bit to the way he had treated Tom Caruso. Caruso was a documentarian who came up, he drove 4 hours to get to Keene to videotape a victimless crime trial. And when he started videotaping, within 4 minutes, the judge had shut him down. So he's driven 4 hours to videotape only 4 minutes, and he's done. So I objected to that. I didn't think the judge had a sufficient reason to shut him down. And I just sent him I tried to send him a nice note to the court that said, hey, I didn't like the way you treated Tom. So in protest, I'm going to show up and I will not shut the camera off if you tell me to. And I'm ready to be arrested rather than shut the camera down, basically.
And so you were. I mean, you went in there. You didn't even make it into the courtroom, as I understand it, though.
Right. When I sent the note, he hadn't really quite banned cameras completely. As soon as he got the note, he just banned cameras completely. So, but whatever they said, they were going to have to choose between arresting me and letting me in, and they just chose to arrest me.
When is your trial for the act of civil disobedience? Do you have a court date for that?
Yeah, I think it's an arraignment. The charge was disorderly conduct. They held me for about an hour and a half and then let me go. Gave me an April 13th court date.
So we're here with Ian Freeman, host of nationally syndicated radio show Free Talk Live. And you guys are broadcasting live from the Liberty Forum, right?
We sure are, all 3 nights.
Well, Free Talk Live is one of the biggest recruiters for the Free State Project. Have you met people here that have signed up for the Free State Project as a result of listening to your show?
Specifically, I have not asked that question. However, there was a panel discussion, there was a presentation yesterday, and it was actually before Glenn Jacobs. Wayne, one of my co-hosts, came on and he introduced Glenn, and during that he used the opportunity to plug Free Talk Live about 10 times, and at one point he asked how many people were listeners of Free Talk Live, and I don't know, half the room applauded at that point, which was pretty amazing. So I would say the answer is yes, but I have not specifically gotten that answer.
Okay, and I know that I am usually on Free Talk Live Tuesday nights, so we'll give that a plug for both our sakes, freetalklive.com. Any last thoughts?
Wow, I mean, if you're not here in New Hampshire yet, you guys have obviously shot a lot of footage of the Liberty Forum here. I'm sure you're going to be showing that. It's an amazing event, and this is just one of the many forms of activism that's going on here in New Hampshire. If you love liberty and you're not surrounded by other liberty-loving individuals, if you're not surrounded by hundreds of other people, like-minded friends and people that are just amazing activists, you don't know what you're missing until you come up here and you actually experience it for yourself. Every year it just keeps getting better. And I'm just talking about the Liberty Forum, this one event. The movement itself keeps getting better as well, but this particular event, people keep getting more comfortable with one another. Every year they're getting to know one another better. That's resulting in relationships being built, and from that ideas are being generated. Those ideas are turning into real life activism. That activism is being videoed and promoted, and it's put out on YouTube, bringing more people to New Hampshire, meaning more ideas are springing forth, and even though it's the third year of the Liberty Forum, we're still in the very genesis of this movement, and you can get a feel for how incredible it really is going to be when we finally have 2,000 people that have moved here. Right now, when we're recording this, we've got about 600 Free Staters in state, and of course that doesn't count guys like you that are New Hampshire natives that have been reactivated. So a few years down the line, it's going to be even better. Why would you want to be anywhere else?
Aside from speakers and people attending panels and simply mingling and socializing with people they share a lot of opinions with, another thing that happens here at Liberty Forum is the fact that there are vendors, whether they're pro-liberty organizations that are interesting to a lot of Free State Project participants, or whether they're just for-profit vendors selling items that people here are likely to buy. There's all kinds here at the Liberty Forum, and we're going to go inside, interview a couple of them from different organizations, and let you know what kind of vendors and exhibitions are here at the Liberty Forum.
The business name is Preparedness Equipment, LLC.
Okay, and the basic idea here is it looks to me like you've got what look to be PVC tubes, essentially to bury stuff.
Yes, in a variety of sizes. My first thought in making these tubes was to bury some gold and silver that I had.
Yeah, well, as I understood it, back during the Depression, they made it so you had to, if you opened a safe deposit box, there had to be a revenue agent there present to see if there was any gold.
That's my understanding as well.
So safe deposit boxes weren't so safe if you actually had precious metal in them.
It's a nice, safe place until the government gets involved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're here with Chris Lopez of the Second Amendment Sisters. The title sounds pretty straightforward, but do you want to explain what specifically it is that the Second Amendment Sisters does?
Right, the Second Amendment Sisters is just a group of women that want to support our Second Amendment rights, and through either safety practices, getting together and learning how to shoot together, just having fun shooting, or just spreading the word to other people in the community about the Second Amendment and the safe practices that go along with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So we're here with Johnson from the Free Talk Live store. Johnson, you used to be a co-host of Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I was. And I look forward to getting back on the air when I can.
Where are you currently?
I'm currently in Connecticut. I'm studying to be a programmer.
So I think you kind of got closer to New Hampshire because if I'm correct, you moved from Florida.
Right, I moved up from Florida with all the other guys from Free Talk Live.
Do you have an ETA for getting to New Hampshire at this point?
Probably, I'm guessing not this summer, obviously, but next summer. Probably like fall, probably right after summer. I'm hoping.
All right.
That's
We'll see you up here. Thanks for the interview.
No problem.
One of the speakers here at Liberty Forum 2009 is John Taylor Gatto. He was at one time a public school teacher, and he was named Teacher of the Year in New York State at one time. But he has come out as somebody largely opposed to public education, or at least public education in its current form. And he's going to be talking a little bit about reasons for that, reasons why the structured form of public education we have right now really holds back a lot of the creative potential of young people in America rather than unleashing it. So let's go ahead and see what John Taylor Gatto is speaking about.
In the year 2006, the University of Connecticut wanted to discover how much learning occurred between entering college as a freshman and graduating as a senior. They selected 5 academic areas for study, and they picked 50 colleges to measure. A total of 14,000 undergraduates were randomly selected to participate. Nobody on this planet could have anticipated the result. In 16 of the 50 colleges, which included Yale, Brown, and Georgetown, the graduating seniors knew less than the incoming freshmen. In the other 34, there was no measurable growth evident, although up to $250,000 had been invested in an average of 6 years of time.
John Taylor Gatto just wrapped up his speech, and now it's cocktail hour. So as you can see, a lot of people mingling. The only remaining event tonight will be the keynote speech by Dick Heller of Heller versus DC, the Supreme Court ruling, which finally established, in the court's view, an individual right to keep and bear arms. But until then, and after the dinner, people are going to mingle, they're going to relax. Yeah, that's what they came here for.